ready? Who came ready to learn today? Pastor Edmund said something I think that was very critical. He talked about, in my words, I say, tonight and this weekend, it's not just about being transactional, but it's being about being transformational. Y'all get that? Pull out y'all phones. I'm going to make y'all do something real quick. Pull out y'all phones. Cut the lights off real quick back there when I'm joking. But go ahead and pull y'all phones out. I'm joking. Look, they ready. They ready. Pull your phones out real quick. And I want you guys, go to your settings app real quick. Go to your settings. Go to your settings. Y'all know where I'm going. Okay. Then I want y'all to go to your screen time real quick. Oh, where we going? Y'all know where I'm going? Some of y'all, look, y'all shaking y'all heads. And what is your screen? Somebody shout out how many hours you spend on your phone. 6? 7? 3? Who can beat 7? You got 4? 1? Okay. So the point I'm trying to make before I get kick things in gear real quick, everybody, is I want to show you that we have one of the most powerful tools that we walk around with every day. If statistics be correct, the average American looks at their phone close to 352 times a day. And you said, how is that possible? Well, you look at TikTok, you look at YouTube, you look at Instagram, you check your text messages, you make calls, you check your email. Y'all see how real quick you could be on your phone? So if you're going to be on that phone, I want to make sure that you're using that powerful tool to make sure you're getting education to build wealth. Where's my millionaires at in the building? Or the young people say, where my Billy at? Where my billionaires at? Where my Billy? Okay, a couple of y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I want y'all to keep your phones out today because I got a lot of information I want to go through. And where are my entrepreneurs here? Where are my business owners? Quite a few. Who aspiring business owners? Aspiring. Okay, so you work in there. So I got what we call the 10 Commandments. Who know the 10 Commandments? Y'all know the 10 Commandments? Only 3 of them. Only 3 of them. Y'all want me to preach now. So I got a little boy. You doing it, though. So the 10 Commandments, I'm going to run through these with you guys, and I want you to take pictures of the screens. Because it's one thing for me to get up here and motivate you, but I want to make sure I educate you. Because the reality is, if you've never heard of the Real Black Friday, before I get started, it's an organization I created 10 years ago right here in our community. And the reason why I built that was to bring awareness and access to black-owned businesses right here in our community. Who believes that small black-owned businesses are the backbone of our community? Y'all all should have your hands raised. We are the first people to employ each other. We're the first ones to keep our communities safe. We're the first ones to go into schools and make sure we mentor our kids. So if we don't exist, how y'all think our communities? Imagine, close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes. Everybody, close your eyes. And imagine no black businesses existing in our community. How would that look? Now, y'all can open back up. How would that look? Be a lot of desolate streets, right? Imagine riding down 116th in Harvard and Miles and Kinsman and no black businesses exist. We would have an issue in our community. So again, I want to make sure I give you some education that will make sure we build strong businesses. So I'll tell you guys, I'm standing here today on September 15th. I'm a tax accountant. I'm here on a deadline day. But when Pastor Edmonds called me and said, I need you to be here, I came here because I want to make sure that I educate our community so you guys see how serious I am. One as an entrepreneur, one on one of the busiest days of my year, to make sure that our people get information that will create legacies. Home ownership and entrepreneurship is what's going to change our families. And I know Mr. Fraser, when he gets up here, he's going to really break it down for you guys. So let's go ahead and go. Let's go to the next one. 10 Commandments. Pull your phones out. Pull your phones out. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Come on. You didn't come this far to only come this far. So today, I'm going to give you this information so we can go to that next level. Let's go. So we're going to talk about the 10 Commandments. And one is going to be build the dream team. The dream team. You got to build a strong team in order to make sure you build a strong business. Because we've seen the meme on social media where that entrepreneur has 10 different hats on. Who's seen that? They're the CFO, they're the marketing person, they're the salesperson, they're the cashier, they're cooking the food. Y'all know they delivering the food, shutting the store down to go clean outside, doing everything. So the dream team. Proper organizational structure. And this is one. How many people heard of an LLC? Everybody in the building. Your cousin told you he got an LLC, so you started an LLC, right? So you like, I just got an LLC because my cousin said I should get an LLC. I should use my social security number, right? Some of y'all laughing. I ain't talking about you, but we're going to talk about that. Develop a robust and solid business plan. That's key. If you don't have a structure, how you opening a business in our community and you opening a salon, for example. I'm going to talk about my wife. She's a stylist here in the city. You open a salon up and you open it next to 7 other salons. So you didn't look at the market. You didn't analyze where you should put that business. So you might be the person who came in new. You got all the energy. You opening a salon and you're going to put all this money into marketing. And everybody going to come to that plaza with the 6 other salons. And because they don't remember your name because you knew, guess what that walk-in ain't going to do? You think they come to your place, a place next door, place on the left, right, down the street, or at the end of the plaza? So again, making sure you know where you opening those businesses. And I'll tell y'all, I get the opportunity. I have close to about 700 clients that come through CLE Consulting Firm. So I'm not telling y'all because I don't know this stuff. It's because I do it every day. I do it every day. I get to see business owners that are doing well, struggling, no structure. And we'll get into a little about the importance of that some more. But keep accurate and real-time records. So the IRS ain't taking bank statements no more. So we don't keep receipts. People call me, LaRese, the day before the tax deadline. Oh, man, can you get these done for me? And they have no support. And what we do as a community, when we talk about wealth building, we pay the IRS, but also we leave them a tip. A lot of our wealth is in taxes, y'all, because we don't have no structure and we don't understand, but after the day, you will understand. So it's what you do with it. My wife said something good. Some of y'all might have saw it on social media. I know you saw it, Donna. She says, listen, learn, activate. And you just said that, brother. You said, so y'all can get this information. If y'all don't use the information and activate it, then we just here just having a conversation. Y'all ready to change? Okay, a couple of y'all. So let's see. Now, know your numbers. So I walk into your spot. You sell a T-shirt, right? You got a T-shirt company. The guy down the street got a T-shirt company. You sell the shirt for $5 because he sell the shirt for $5. So you think you're just trying to compete with him and sell the same shirt for $5. You don't realize his cost of goods sold, the cost of that T-shirt was $1. So he could sell it for $5 because he counted his cost. You spent $4 on the shirt and don't realize you selling for $5 and you ain't think about your overhead. You losing money as soon as you open your doors. Happy grand opening, happy grand what? Closing. Say it louder. Happy grand opening, happy what? Grand closing, y'all. Next slide for me. And I don't see enough phones out here. I'm trying to get y'all the game. I'm trying to give it to y'all. Continuous training and reinvestment into workforce. Know how to price your product. Again, and the thing you didn't think about that T-shirt example I gave you, then you go to put stuff on sale because you bought too much inventory and then realize we live in a city that has 4 seasons. And that same shirt that you didn't count the cost of that price, now you put it on sale 50% off. You sell it for $250, but you paid $4 for it. And you wonder like, wow, man, 6 months in, I got to close my doors. And we're going to talk about the lease you signed that you personally guaranteed in somebody else's building. You put $100,000 into it. You signed it for 5 years. You personally guaranteed it. The business is closed. Now you personally have to pay that. Some of y'all shaking y'all heads. Okay, separate your personal and business finances. I want to jump on every table in here and tell y'all as I look in your eyes, separate it. When you go to the bank, they don't need to see you like Cheesecake Factory. They don't need to see you shop at Saks. You like to travel when you're trying to do business. What they should only see is your business expenses. Separate them. That's one of the things I see the most when new clients come to me. And the reality is, I always ask the question, would you give you money? Based on how your stuff is set up. So you ask me for 10 grand and I see all you do is eat out every day. And you talking about this your business account. So I'm going to give you 10 grand, so what? You can eat out better, you can travel more, you can go to Saks more. What we doing? So again, make sure you pay your taxes. So stop paying the bill and leaving a tip. Again, I see a lot of people because they don't have the right structure and because they don't have the right documentation, we overpay, and a lot of our wealth is in taxes. So y'all get mad when y'all hear Jay-Z. Now, we're my Jay-Z fans. Any Jay-Z fans? About 3 of y'all. So I'm sorry, they scared. They like, look, oh, I know, look, y'all gonna listen to him as soon as y'all get in the car. Stop it. Stop it. Look, try to put some word to it. So, but no, honestly, you with Jay-Z, y'all hear him and Beyonce talk about they hired an accountant and they pay no taxes. Amazon, you know this, Mr. Fraser, when they talked about Amazon made like $6 billion and paid zero in taxes because they know the tax rules. It's no game to it. It's no fraud to it. It's just making sure you have your structure. Let's go to the next one. Now, I'm going to run, y'all, because they're going to kick me out if I take too much time. Let's go. So, dream team. This is your dream team. Everybody, pay attention, y'all. I'm here today. Pay attention. Is your attorney. It used to be the power of 5. Now I call it the power of 7. Again, stop signing those contracts and leases and you don't understand what you're reading. One word can change that entire contract. And again, the saying goes, you either pay now or you're going to pay later. But you're going to definitely pay. And it's going to be a lot more expensive. So, account. A lot of times people think they can't afford an account. And I'm not here to try to sell you on my company or anything, but some of you guys know, I see I got a couple clients here in the room today. So y'all know, when y'all came, y'all thought like, oh, it's going to be expensive going to see LaRese. And you realize sometime in some cases, that might be cheaper than H&R Block. But again, when you come through that door, you get a team of professionals that are experts at what they do. Insurance broker. You just talked about that, Pastor Edmonds. So the other thing about Cash App, we got to do GoFundMes. Beyond that, we should have relationships. This is about relationships, everybody. When the pandemic happened, what I was the saddest about for our community is that we had no relationships. We couldn't call the banker because we had no relationships. So when the banks were closed, we didn't know what to do in some cases. And that's why historically we saw a lot of black businesses not take care of or get access to PPP loans. Yes, we know there was some issues there, but it was because of lack of relationship in some cases. Our business banker, raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur again. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Now keep your hands up if you have a business banker you work with all the time. Okay, 1, 2 people, 3 people. Marketing professional, HR professional. Some of y'all hiring employees and firing people through a text message. Because you think a business means you're a boss. A building don't make you a boss, a business don't make you a boss. You don't have the expertise in what you don't have the expertise in. And then a financial advisor. So y'all gonna get that game tomorrow. Y'all gonna get that game, and Mr. Fraser gonna share it. Y'all gonna get it all throughout this weekend. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give y'all an example. When I started CLE consulting firm, my partner and I, Mel Tree Sharp, the first year we did not pay ourselves. And we were paying employees. But the first thing, let me look you in your eyes and tell you, the first thing we did, though, is we started a self-directed IRA. And we paid ourselves every week. Every week we put into that IRA. Because, again, happy grand opening, happy grand closing. What I didn't want to have happen is I do this because a lot of you entrepreneurs open businesses, and what happens is you do it for 5 years and you haven't been paying yourself for most of that time. You close that business, you lose everything because you took all your savings, your retirement to open the business. So when it closes and you didn't pay yourself, you leave with zero. So when we start talking about our net worth as a community, that's what impacts that. So again, this power of 7. Y'all got those? Okay. Go to the next slide. So real quick, I want y'all to take shots of these because I want to kind of run through these. Pastor Edmonds, how much time I got? 10. Okay. So we got take pictures of these: a sole proprietor, partnership, C Corp, LLC. We'll keep going. And I want y'all to hit this one. So to break it down for you. Now, today is a tax deadline for partnership and S Corps, September 15th. And a lot of times, if people have LLCs, we don't understand what S Corp, the value of an S Corp for your business. Helps you with self-employment tax. It reduces some of the tax liability you have. And the whole game is create after-tax wealth and reduce tax liability. That's the name of the game. So they do it every time. We think that, oh, no, we get scared when we hear the word IRS. What they just do is look for the rules, the loopholes in the rules, everybody. So let's go to the next one. We'll go ahead, C Corp. And right now, for some of my bigger businesses here in the room today, C Corp can be an option for you. It's a little more expensive to manage, but the tax rate being at 21%. So again, knowing and dealing with an accountant so they can know your overall goals, what can kind of help set you up to figure out which is the best structure. So again, just because you think that's the easiest thing, a lot of times, because we can pay $99 for LLC, we think that's a perfect structure for us. So we're giving the IRS money. Now, budgets. Then I'm going to run through. We're just going to take pictures, and I'm going to end this. But I want to make sure, again, as I get opportunities to go out now and motivate people and talk about entrepreneurship, I want to make sure I leave you with something that's going to impact you, to make sure you have information to utilize to really build black businesses. Because especially for our young people in the room, and for those who have had businesses in our community for years, our people and young kids cannot be what they don't see. Y'all believe that? So we got to exist. Because if I ask y'all right now, name me 5 businesses that are right in the city of Cleveland that have been around for at least 50 years. Boy. Thank you. So somebody finally said something other than a restaurant or a funeral home. Okay. Huh? G&E Cleaners? Where is that at? Okay. I wasn't hip to that. So we got a new one. Okay. So we're going to keep going. So the point I'm trying to make with that is, in most cases when I'm in rooms and I say that in our city, people get quiet. Because we don't make it, because we don't, and this goes back to that structure, having the right structure in place. We can't exist and create generational businesses if we have no structure. Again, a building doesn't make you a boss, and a building don't mean you have a business. So we got to make sure we have structure, and it takes time, and that's why I wanted y'all to see where y'all spend the time at. So again, these are some components of that. And now I'll tell you, Huntington Bank has a really good program that they're doing through Operation Hope right now. And if you go to their website, you'll see it. It's actually a free process where they'll help you create an actual business plan. You take about 8, they have 8 cohorts for it to go through it in order to create that. So again, those are the components. Let's go. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So again, just talking about with a budget. How many people have a budget in their homes? Okay, so important. So if you have bad personal finances, I guarantee you're going to have bad what? Business finances. It's no way you have a bad mindset when it comes to money on the personal side and it's going to convert to good business finances. You're going to carry the same thing over. So again, we got to create that structure even personally as well. So take a picture of that. Y'all got that? Yeah. We got the budget, right? I'm going to come back and make sure y'all got them. Let's go. Keep accurate and real-time records. Now, this is what keeps me up to about 2 o'clock every morning during tax season. Because people come and they say, I have a business, and they have no records. The IRS no longer is taking bank statements. You have to keep your actual records if you get audited. Now, I'll tell you, for the first time in my career, right now I have about 17 audits from the IRS for clients. I may have seen that in about 5 years total, and I got that right now. So don't believe when y'all see that they hired 20, 30,000 more agents, they're not coming to collect that money. What y'all think? They come to collect the money. That PPP money they gave out, they're coming to collect it. So I'm going to put y'all on notice. So let's just make sure we have our stuff in order. We have nothing to worry about. Let's just have our stuff in order. Now, know your numbers. Know your numbers, everybody. Make sure we have, and again, I can excite you about entrepreneurship. I love it. It's not for everybody. We can build businesses. I built something from nothing. Now I'm making 7 figures in multiple businesses. I can get y'all excited about that. But again, I need y'all to have this information. Because we perish because of what? The lack of, what your pastor just said, knowledge. So come on. Now, first statement is your profit and loss, and I got 3 minutes. I'm going to run through these. Take pictures. Come on. My young people, I need to see y'all out here. Make sure y'all taking shots of this. And this is the kind of stuff we need to be posting on social media. So instead of the Bentley standing in front of somebody's Bentley and don't realize they parked in front of a house they don't even own. So, hey, y'all don't want to get me started now. Let's go. Keep going. Balance sheet. Now, let me stop here for a second because it's a mixed crowd in here tonight. Your balance sheet is where the real money is, and you know that. So people think that profit and loss, let me give y'all a couple nuggets before I leave. The balance sheet is where you save the money at because y'all own a restaurant, and because you don't keep up with your financials, what you do is you expense everything, and you don't realize your balance sheet is what holds your assets. That tells you the real value of your business. So when we talk about, most people own a business and don't even know the value. How you sending me a balance sheet and you own a restaurant and there's no equipment? What you cooking on? You don't have a stove? You don't have freezers? That's like the church having a balance sheet or a statement of financial position and not having all this media equipment. That's the real assets. That tells you the real value of your business. So the balance sheet, y'all, let's go. Cash flow, we're not going to really talk about that one. That's a whole nother conversation, but take pictures. Come on. I literally got like 5 minutes. I just took y'all to school. I just felt like lecturing today. I felt like lecturing. Y'all come, if y'all want to see me run across the stage, come out Sunday or something. Look, let's go. Continuous training and reinvestment into your workforce. So how you in an industry and you have not taken a class and make sure that you become an expert in that? So you've been doing that for 5 years and you think you lead in the industry because you get a couple likes on your social media, but don't realize people are surpassing you because there's so much information and education out here. So I probably go to about 4 conferences a year. I send my staff to about 2 to 3 a year. And Donna knows that, to make sure I'm educating them. So again, reinvesting in yourself. Let's go. Product pricing. And then we're just going to take pictures of the next one. This one is important. Everybody, if you're an entrepreneur, take a picture of it. It's simple, but the worst thing during the pandemic I was able to see. When I walk in a business, I look at it a lot differently. When I see that price board and I see that you got 5 wings and fries for $3, and during the pandemic, I knew a case of chicken went up to $136 from $31. My restaurant owners know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, how are you selling 5 wings and fries for $2, $3, and the thing then tripled or quadrupled? So again, because we don't know our price, we don't know how to price our product. And stop paying, because guess what? Anybody own a restaurant in here? What business y'all own? Somebody shout out. Candle business. So where do you get your candle? Where do you get your stuff to make the candles? Where do you get it from? What stores? Amazon. Where else? Overseas. Anybody got a product they sell? Come on, y'all. Who got a product? Y'all scared I'm going to talk about you. Oh, my. Y'all scared I'm going to talk. Okay, so we're going to use Amazon. So you gonna make sure, do you owe Amazon some money right now? You don't, you paid them in what? In full. You paid them in full. But when it comes to that, why do we pay all the people first and make sure we pay them in full and never pay ourselves first? In our price, we should pay ourselves first. So again, we're going to get to this lab. We got 2 slides and we done, Pastor. Anybody getting anything out of this? Come on, y'all. I need y'all to get something. Come on. Let's go to the next.
Question, how does that do for self-employed people, or self-employed musicians?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Yeah. Cause we gotta go. I gotta get out of here, y'all. Come. It's not up? Uh-oh. Don't worry. I got the backup in my hand. I got my phone 352 times. 353 today. Okay, we got it. It's coming. Don't worry. And the enemy don't want it to happen. That's why. Don't want it to happen. That's why the equipment didn't work. You know when people's lives don't get changed. Let's go. So making sure we have the right technology, take pictures. I'm going right to the next one. I ain't going to talk about this. Let's go. And we said it's like mixing business and personal. It's like eating ice cream with lettuce. We know it don't taste good, and it shouldn't be that way. Don't bring me your personal bank statements to do your taxes for your business. Again, don't go to a bank talking about, I need a loan. I'm going to bring you my purse. I don't have a business bank account. Then you don't have a business. So again, sometimes we go to the table or we want to sit at the table too early and we get invited and we're not ready. So when we're ready, we never get invited back. So stop asking for a seat at the table when you ain't ready because you might lose your access. Let's go. Okay, pay taxes, making sure. A lot of businesses getting killed out here because they don't know how they have taxes outside of federal, outside of state, outside of local. If you're selling a product, you're paying sales taxes. You need a vendor's license. You don't think you owe somebody for selling that? You charging 8%. You thought you got to keep the 8% too? You don't get 108%. So let's go. Okay, so last slide, y'all. Now what? So the reason we create businesses in our city, and the reason why I work so hard to create my business, and I want you to challenge yourself, is to create jobs for people in our community. Y'all believe that? Yeah. Sometimes when we don't have no financial margin in our lives, all we can do is think about ourselves. But you create margins to be a blessing to others. So we give back to those that are less fortunate in our surrounding community. We create legacy and wealth for future generations. And we ensure that we have a succession plan in place. Y'all can't, a logo do not equate to a legacy. What you gonna leave your kid with the 10,000 followers you got on your Instagram? When you gone, what you think that's gonna be worth? 0. So let's create that succession plan. Let's go. I want you to leave a legacy and not a logo, y'all. And again, because we got to start talking about how we own the buildings, how we buy the block back. But you can't buy the block back until you make sure you get your business in order and create a financial foundation. Y'all believe that? Yeah. Come on. So now take a picture of this. This is literally the last slide of some resources. I want to make sure you can go to sba.gov. You can pull up and you can put an industry in there. And what they'll do is give you samples of business plans. Score.org. Score is an organization locally that they'll give you a retired CFO, CEO that you can work with and walk you through that. So again, those are just a couple of sites for you. And I think we're all done, y'all. Y'all get something today? Now tell me, somebody shout out all 10 of them to me. Y'all weren't listening. I'm done. So, no, I hope y'all got something out of the day. Again, I want y'all to build strong businesses because our community needs you. And again, black businesses create strong communities. They create strong families. And they create legacies in our community. So y'all with me? So let's build businesses. Okay?
They're going to show you a video, Doc. He ain't paying attention.
Y'all was blessed? Y'all was blessed? All right, good stuff. Listen, man, I'm excited about the next person. He's a GOAT, in my opinion. And you'll see why in a second. This brother doesn't only bring it, but at the same time, man, he is very intentional and thoughtful about our community. And this dude has done some amazing things in his life. So without further ado, let's just welcome Dr. George Fraser. Let's go.
That's my favorite part. 50 years, that's 3 years old. 50 years married to the same sister. Lord Jean deserves an award. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
She deserves the award. People ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, what is the key to staying married to the same sister?
For 50 years. Teach, Doc.
And it's a one-word answer. Amnesia. Now let me explain that. Let me unpack that for you. In 50 years, Dr. Fraser is going to do some dumb stuff. Now, if I wasn't in a church, I would have used another word that rhymes with it. But Nora Jean Fraser in 50 years is also going to do some dumb stuff, too. So when we do our dumb stuff, we come together, we discuss it, we reach middle ground, and then we bless it and release it, never to bring it up again.
Help me, Lord.
So that's just a little advice for those of you who are on, 5 or 10 years. You got a long. Well, think about the vow. The vow is what? Till death. Woo! Right? Make that promise to somebody. Till death do us part. It is so good to be with you, and it's so good to be speaking in Cleveland. I live 15 minutes from here. 15 minutes from here. I just got back from Atlanta about 1 o'clock last night. My 9 o'clock flight to Atlanta was coming back home was late, so And, so I'm 1,000 miles away doing my thing in Atlanta. So here, and I made sure I got back yesterday, so I could do this. It is seldom that I speak in my own backyard. It is seldom. So, let me get one thing straight. Although I have been living in Cleveland, Ohio for 54 years, I am not a native of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a native of Brooklyn, New York. Not just Brooklyn, New York,
Come on, sir.
but the nation of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. Now, they say if you are from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York, you are either a thug or a gangster. I'm a gangster. You're going to find out in a minute. My job is to scare the hell out of you.
Come on, sir.
Is to frighten you into righteousness.
Come on, sir.
To help you fulfill, Proverbs 13:22, that a good man leaves an inheritance for what? His children's children. LaRese, where's LaRese? Oh, dear. Had he been a snake? Magnificent presentation. You teed up this whole thing. Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So, I'm going to speak. I've got 30 minutes. So, I'm going to speak straight, no chaser. I'm going to give you a 30,000-foot view of the state of the black world, but in particular, the state of black America. I've spoken over 5,000 times around the world. I've been at this for 50 years. I have 10.5 million frequent flyer miles. A whole lot of people with that. And I have seen a lot. I have been every place that black people have been dispersed. 31 of the countries on the continent, every place that's important that we are in South America, all over the Caribbean, and the pockets of black folks certainly dispersed throughout the United States and Europe. And I'm here to tell you that there are no black people in the entire world doing better than we are. We are the beacon of hope for every single person of African descent in the entire world, in spite of the state of our condition, but it is still better than any black person living any place other than the United States in this world. That's a whole nother talk. So I'll put a pin in that, and if I'm invited back for part 2, we'll talk about that in part 2. So let me just get started. Let me just remind you that a house divided cannot stand. Old keys will not open new doors. Ain't nobody saving black people but black people. It has been 400 years and we ain't saved. Who in the hell are we waiting for? We're waiting for us. So I'm going to say this with gentle effect. At nearly 80 years old, I feel free to say it. I have found the enemy, and the enemy is us. And I say this with love. The mantra for the Power Networking Conference, now 22 years old and will be in Charlotte beginning next year for the next 3 years. The mantra is that we must what? Connect, grow, and prosper so that we can do this. Write this down so that we can learn, earn, and return. That we have a lot of us learning and a lot of us earning, but not enough of us returning, and therein lies our problem. This is why I love this man, LaRese Purnell. This is why I love your pastor. Bringing financial literacy and education to the black church. Now, don't let me get on the black church. There are 2,500 references to economics and money in the Bible. 4 of Jesus' parables was about economic and money, and only in a handful of the 85,000 black churches that we have in this country, the historically most powerful, respected, and trusted institution in our culture, only in a sprinkle of those churches do they preach and teach about building and managing wealth. This must be fixed. Now, I don't talk about things that I don't do something about. So I'm going to show you something, and you may know a little about this, but I made a decision 21 years ago that someone has to facilitate and help the black church bring regular, weekly, or bi-monthly financial literacy and education programs to the church. But they needed help. They needed help. I spent $250,000, put together a team, and developed a culturally specific curriculum on everything financial, 75 modules. It is a licensing arrangement with the black church. It is a full curriculum with a teacher's manual and student manual and so forth. It's called WINS, Wealth Building Programs. And they are installed, these curriculums are installed in hundreds of black churches around the country. It's a very small licensing fee. And on the back is the 10 Commandments of Financial Freedom. The 10 Commandments of Financial Freedom. I wrote a little piece of poetry under the Wind's Wealth Building Center, and I said, "For it is the wind that makes us soar, and the winds that bring us change." So I want to talk to you about it. Bring this curriculum to this church, have a regular monthly meeting, bi-monthly meeting, a wealth-building ministry, someone who will take responsibility for it. I've made it easy. It's all right here. The entire curriculum, every single thing we need to learn. Okay? So, now, we are all drinking from wells, brothers and sisters, that we did not dig. I'm sure you understand that. That we are standing on the shoulders of giants. A 250-year fight for our freedom. 1619 to 1864, or a 250-year fight to free us. Another 100-year fight for civil rights, voting rights, and public access from 1864 to 1964. What I'm saying to you is that we must never, ever, 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 ever minimize that accomplishment and continue to honor our ancestors and forefathers. So the question is, that's a hell of a legacy. That's a hell of a legacy. So the big question, Pastor, is what then, if that's their legacy, what will be our legacy? Now, that's a deep question. And the deeper question is, whatever that legacy is, are we worthy of that legacy? And so the real question now becomes, well, the next question is, what will be the legacy of generations X, Y, Z, and Generation Alpha? What will be their legacy? Now, I know what the Boomer legacy is. We participated in the fight for civil rights, voting rights, and public access. That's our legacy. That's one of the things that we will leave succeeding generations and children yet unborn. What will our children's children be saying about them 150 years from now? I believe that economics must become the new black power. Economics must become the new black power. We cannot allow our legacy, my brothers and sisters, to end with the civil rights struggle. When running the streets of Brooklyn, traveling over to Harlem back when I was a kid, 1962, I was in Harlem on 125th Street. There was a young brother on a soapbox speaking, and a crowd was gathering around him. It wasn't Malcolm, somebody else. You might know this name. His name was Stokely Carmichael. Later, he changed his name to Kwame Ture. But this brother said something so profound and so deep that it resonated in my subconscious and became the guiding light of my entire life. I'm going to quote to you what Stokely said to the crowd that day so that I won't misquote him. He said that no black person in this country makes an advancement solely based on his or her talent or worth. That all individual advancement is based on mass struggle. We make no progress in this world without shedding our blood. Therefore, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, your advancement and success does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. And if you do not use your success for the advancement and benefit of your people, it is a betrayal of the people who shed their blood for you. That is a moral and spiritual responsibility. We must change. And you will never change that which you tolerate. You will only change when you get angry. People will not change when they see the light. People will change when they feel the heat. Oh yeah, you'll change your shoes when your feet hurt. That's when you'll change them. The great Nobel Prize winning Toni Morrison said it more succinctly. She said, if you are free, you need to free somebody else. And if you have some power, your job is to empower somebody else. The great African-centered scholar, John Henrik Clarke, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, said it very succinctly. He said, take what you do best and do it for your people. That's what you're doing, Pastor. That's what you're doing, LaRese. That's what many of you, that's what you're doing, my brother. Thank you for helping to make this happen. Now some bad news.
Come on, give it to us straight. Yeah.
The one thing that is extraordinarily interesting about white people is they take notes. They track data. They know how much we spend and what we spend it on and the trends of that spending better than we do. They know every move we make. And by the way, now with social media, you can multiply that times 10. Front page of USA Today. from a major longitudinal study. African American baby boomers will be the first generation of Africans in America that will raise another generation of Africans in America that will not do better than them. Institute of Policy Studies, April 2016. If nothing changes among African Americans, it will take them 228 years, if ever, to close the wealth gap between blacks and whites in America. Institute of Policy Studies. Second report, Institute of Policy Studies. By 2053, just 10 years after the country is projected to become majority non-white, black median families will own zero wealth if current trends continue. If nothing changes, we will head into a second slavery. A second slavery. Yes, try to operate in a market-based economy in a democratic capitalistic society without money. Exhaustive studies show that the key reasons blacks still remain the poorest people in America 400 years later is because, unlike whites, very few accumulated assets, thank you, LaRese, are passed from generation to generation. Institutionalized racism absolutely has played a major role, but the lack of business development and home ownership and proper insurance and financial education are the four core reasons. Now, you're not old enough to remember this, but I am. 1964, Lyndon Baines Johnson was president of the United States. There was a disturbing statistical trend among the black community versus the white community. And the trend articulated that black people had a 25% out-of-wedlock birth rate versus white people at that time, which was 5%. We were 5 times as much. So we asked Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan to do a major longitudinal study on this problem. And he did. It took about a year and a half. And in 1964, the Moynihan report came out. Oh, we were not happy. Because the Moynihan report fundamentally said that with the current trend of out-of-wedlock birth rates in the black community, was Negro at that time, if that trend continues, this was the report, Google it, you'll read it yourself. Within 40 years, the out-of-wedlock birth rate will be in the 80 percentile range. 60 to 70% of black children will be raised in a single-parent household, and that statistic alone will destroy the infrastructure for building wealth within the African-American community. Oh, we were angry. We said, oh, no, that's racist. We did nothing. What happened? That happened exactly as they tracked it and predicted it. You may have seen this. It made national news. A major economic study in the city of Boston, 2017, made headlines in USA Today. They were looking at the economic difference and the median net worth by cultural group in Boston. By the way, Boston is one of the wealthiest cities in America, the home of at least 3 Ivy League schools, MIT, Harvard, Bryn Mawr. The headline was this. This is the headline. The headline was so incredible, they had to qualify the headline in the Boston Globe. I have a picture of it. It says, "This is no typo. The median net worth of black Bostonians is $8 in one of the wealthiest cities in America." Racism in just the last 20 years, according to the Citigroup, has cost America $16 trillion. And since slavery, it has cost America $70 trillion. We can go on and on. I don't want to leave you here depressed. I'm just sort of, let's call it the Black Paul Revere. Brothers and sisters, we must fix this. We must change our mind. We must educate our people. That 30-minute education that LaRese gave you up here with those beautiful slides, that's worth thousands of dollars. And he needed far more than 30 minutes to do it, but you were masterful in getting it done. But that could be a 2-week course in this church. That one presentation alone. If you unpack those nuggets up there, we must change. People change for 4 or 5 different reasons. We change when we hurt enough and we have to. We change when we see enough and we're inspired to. We change when we learn enough and we want to. And we change when we receive enough, when we have enough that we're able to. That's on us. Pick one. Who are you of those 4? Business building. And by the way, just a little caveat on building a business. You don't really build a business. You build people, and your people build the business. That's a leadership thing. That's a whole nother talk. Let me say that again. You don't build a business. You build people, and your people build your business. This is understanding the power of the human connection. The power of the human connection. There is no success that you can attain, sustain, or maintain on your own by yourself in a vacuum. Introduce me to your 5 closest friends, and that will tell me who you are. If you're hanging out with 5 broke people, I promise you in a year, you're going to be the 6th broke person. There's nothing you can do of any significance other than upskilling yourself without people, without unity, without coordination, without collaboration, without investment of intellectual capital into each other. Without human capital and intellectual capital, you can't build a damn thing. And the power of the human connection is exactly what God has wanted for us and wants for us. This is what God wants. There's a biblical declaration on the importance of the human connection. Dr. Fraser, what is that biblical declaration? John 5:30. It is a direct quote from Jesus Christ. You know, there are 800,000 words in the Bible. There are only 1,200 words are from Jesus Christ. John 5:30, and Jesus said, I of my own self can do nothing. Now this was Jesus, the Son of God. He couldn't get it done on his own by himself in a vacuum. He needed 12 disciples. One turned on him. You need the same. The human connection is critical. Genesis 1:31. And God saw everything that he made, and behold, he said it was good. There's only one time in the entire Bible, Pastor, that God was not happy with his own work. It is Genesis 2:18, and the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone, and I will make him a helper comparable to him. And he grabbed Adam's ribs and he made woman. God's love for the human connection is clear, and he gave us two ways to ensure that we connect. He gave us sex and money. Oh, okay. Now, we know that the inspiration for sex is ecstasy, but that is not the goal of sex. The goal of sex is what? Procreation, to create more of God's children to serve us and for us to serve. That's genius, isn't it? Money, Dr. Fraser. How do you earn money? Through service. That's how you earn money. The more skills you have, the more you have investment in your upward mobility intellectually, the more people you are able to serve, the more profit you earn, and then you can return. Because you got something to invest. You earn through service. In fact, if you think about it, Malcolm Gladwell said this. He said that the most common attribute of rich people are friends, contacts, and connections. So what am I really saying to you? I'm saying to you that really, deeply, metaphorically, the measure of your wealth is other people. I wish I had thought of that. We have a lot of work to do. I'm running out of time. I'll keep it as succinct and as simple as possible on my close. I'm with the pastor. I'm with LaRese. It is my hope, I will not live to see this, that by the end of the 21st century, black people will become the number one employer of their own people. Jews are the number one employer of Jews. East Indians are the number one employer of East Indians. Arabs are the number one employer of Arabs. We too must ultimately become the number one employer of our own people. Why is creating work and jobs for our people critical? Because that is the only way to raise up the poor. We must think entrepreneurially. Even if you are employed, you can think entrepreneurially, which simply means you take ownership. This is huge. This is one of the big reasons we are not where we need to be. We are some of the most creative and innovative people on the freaking planet. Do you know that? Of course, most of us don't even know who we are because we don't read. You know the old saying, you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. We don't read. It is said that white people fear black people, in particular black men. And they're right. They know who we are. They ought to be really scared. We are the children of the slaves that would not die. That we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa. That we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in caves practicing cannibalism. And if everything happens for a reason and serves us in some special way, and you will never understand that reason looking forward, you will only understand it looking backwards. If in fact that is the truth, that is the truth, maybe we were not brought here. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his toughest job? How could an America at that time, who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America and Africans brought to America, have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent us here, America might have self-destructed by now. What do we know? When the rules are clear and the playing field is level, not only can we compete, we will dominate and we will change the game on your ass. And we have seen this. This is not hype. We got it like that. We are God's first people. Old keys cannot open new doors. Will there be obstacles? The answer to that, and I'm going to say this as religiously as I can, will there be obstacles? The answer to that would be, oh, hell to the yes. Of course there's going to be obstacles. My favorite quote outside of the Bible is a quote by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the 5 great Caesars. He's the founder of the Stoic philosophy, one of the philosophies I study. And it was Marcus Aurelius who said, 600 BC, he said, the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. Woo. Woo. Now chew on that for a minute. Let me make that simpler for you. The obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment he feels that you are ready for and he has prepared you for? He gives you that assignment, Pastor, and then what does he do? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, round, through, and under the obstacle. Learn the lesson, stumble, fall, and fail. And when you do that, you get an atta-girl or an atta-boy from God, and then you get your next assignment at a slightly higher level, Pastor, and then what's the next thing God does? He puts an obstacle in your way. And when you look back over your life, that is the story of your entire life. Now, in the infinite wisdom of our God, he has designed us in such a way, generally speaking, to give us the time that we need, but we do not understand the structure of that time. So let me close with this. The New England Journal of Medicine 4 years ago, America's first medical journal, one of the best in the world, published a longitudinal study. Longitudinal means massive. 10,000 people in the study. On the 3 most productive periods of our life. The number 3 most productive period of our life is between 50 and 60. The number 2 most productive period of your life is between 70 and 80. And the number 1 most productive period of your life, LaRese, is between 60 and 70.
Come on, sir.
What does that mean, Dr. Fraser? It means that from 0 to 49, you ain't done nothing yet. You're just learning. He's just preparing you to do your great work. I know this to be true because I have now lived through those periods. At 78, I got 2 years left in that 80-year period, right? And right now, at this moment, as we speak, I am doing the greatest work that I have ever done. I've asked the brother to play a little movie for me. You have it teed up, dear? It's just 3 minutes long, and I'm finished. You have it? Here we go. Watch. No one has seen this but you and the mayor of Atlanta.
Battle for us for the 21st century must be on the battlefield.
Can you turn it up?
Of wealth creation. These things have resulted in a lack of clarity of purpose, brothers and sisters, a lack of goals and destination, a lack of criticism with a constructive flavor in our community, a lack of passion and anger, and a lack of collective output and multiple leadership. That's what it has resulted in.
Okay.
For over 250 years, we focused on our fight for freedom and spent the next 100 years fighting Jim Crow and for the promise of justice, equity, and inclusion. Now, it is time to inject Dr. King's final message of economic empowerment into our narrative. For the next 100 years, we must focus on economics to mitigate the enormous black and white wealth gap and the effects of economic apartheid. Despite the fact that there are 110 black history museums in America, none exclusively focuses on our contribution to capitalism, entrepreneurship, and business. Over 20 years ago, one man, Dr. George C. Fraser, had a vision to create a business ecosystem that would acknowledge, celebrate, and incubate black business excellence. Introducing the Black Business Legacy Hall of Fame Museum and Metaverse and Global Entrepreneurship Center. The 200,000 square foot multi-level museum and global center will be an iconic structure built in Atlanta, Georgia, showcasing historical legacy of African-American entrepreneurship and innovation. The Black Business Legacy Hall of Fame Museum and Metaverse will leverage immersive technology to showcase multi-themed pavilions reflective of our past and present global black entrepreneurs and innovators. Visitors will be enthralled by the Black Business Metaverse world, built to provide an immersive and fully interactive experience that opens up endless possibilities for entrepreneurs, business owners, and content creators. The Global Center for Advancement of Entrepreneurship will recognize, incubate, and accelerate black entrepreneurship and provide a transformative learning experience where black entrepreneurs can live, collaborate, focus, and innovate to develop an economic mindset and build sustainable wealth. Over time, the Black Business Legacy Hall of Fame Museum and Metaverse will become a powerful new raison d'être, reason for being, for global communities worldwide, setting the standard for generations to come.
Oh, y'all can do better than that.
Yes, sir.
Let's show our appreciation for both of these presenters. Both of them.
Wow, I'm inspired.
Let me get this one.
Anybody inspired? Anybody inspired? Man, why can't I hear y'all? Where's the energy? Anybody inspired? Right, okay. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're going to, in the interest of time, we're gonna have some follow-up questions. Joe is gonna lead us in that, and then I'm gonna help facilitate questions that you may have for these two great gentlemen. And we're gonna put mics. You cannot holler out a question from the audience because we are streaming. I'm not shading Michelle. I'm not shading Michelle. That's my girl. She didn't know. I'm just saying, I just want y'all to know, because sometimes y'all don't want to get up and go to the mic. But your question will be helpful to somebody who's watching online right now. We are streaming on all of our platforms, okay? Does that make sense? So there will be a time for questions, and we just simply ask that you will go to the mics and you can ask those questions for them. But in the meantime, Joe, well, good Lord. Go ahead, brother.
I'm already speechless. I want to say this. I want to spend most of the time with your questions. So I just want to make my questions for them brief, but I need you guys to have courage, and let's ask them while we got these giants here. It's not often they get here, all right? So look, I want to make this practical, and this is going to be for both of y'all. This was inspiring. I get that part. But the reality is when we get back home, inflation's a real thing. The cost of living is high. Our incomes are not great, so it's difficult for us to save. I think we all want to build wealth, but how do we do that given the economic environment that we're in when it's difficult for us to make ends meet? And I'll direct that to you both to tag team.
Start? No, I just finished.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and just to speak all the way real, we all family in here, right? We all family. Is because y'all ain't gonna want to hear this. And in a lot of cases, it's a rule that I teach. It's called the 50-20-30. 50-20-30. And the reality with that rule, the reason why I teach that is 50% is your needs, 20% is your wants, because you're going to want to spend some money on yourself, and 30% is your investments. And when I use that rule, the reason why I say that is some of us have to reset. It goes back to that word I talked. It's a great book called Margins, if you've never read it. And the reality is we're living beyond our margins. And then again, back to like what Dr. Fraser talked about, our network is our net worth. And the people that we hang around dictates our wealth building ability. So again, I would just say you really got to take the simple tools. I can sit up here and give you and excite you, but you don't have no budget. How you say you want to build wealth and make adjustments and really live a fruitful life when it comes to building wealth if you don't even know where your money is going. So you got to build the foundational principles. Try to build a house without a foundation. What does it do? It crumbles. So again, I would say start there. Got to build that budget. See where your money is going. See what you're spending money on. And I could really, get into some teaching. But those are the simple things I would say. You might not be to drive that German car. Because again, if you pulling up, in a Range Rover and you renting, you got an issue. And if you don't own a home and you paying twice as much as for an apartment that you could a mortgage, we got to reset, y'all. So again, really looking at where your money is going is important.
That's good. That's good. That's good, Doc.
That's good. Mine might be more basic than that. All of us are going to have to do a dark closet inventory on what gives you the greatest fulfillment, the greatest joy, and the greatest satisfaction. Think about that. Whatever that may be, it might be a couple of things. Convert that into a business. Convert it into a business. And there's just very simple ways to do that. But it starts with doing something that you love with people that you love. Okay? So what is that thing? People ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, when are you going to retire? And I say, and do what? I am not working Do you understand this? And I'm not exact. This is not work to me. This is what God put me here to do. Yes, sir. Right? And I will do it until it kills me. Do what you love until it kills you. Do it as long as you can. But it has to be that thing, and you're going to have to think about that deeply. It's a deep question. What gives you the greatest fulfillment, the greatest joy, the greatest satisfaction? And then with the rules and stuff that LaRese put up out there, and there's a lot more to go into, you can figure a way on how to monetize that. That's what we're talking about, monetization of that thing that you love. How do you monetize that? And start small. Everything that God has created that is living on this earth starts as a seed. And then over time, you get the knowledge, you make the mistakes, you stumble, you fall, and you figure it out. But we must move, this is imperative, from being the consumption class to the merchant class. They make stuff, we buy stuff. We got to come to grips with that. We've got to manage that, because a lot of this stuff that we buy is just a waste. I got started in business when I was working for Procter & Gamble. That was my full-time day hustle. My part-time night hustle was real estate. No, so I convinced my wife that let's not buy a home first. Let's buy some income property. True story. The Buckeye area of Cleveland is where I started. But back then, this is 52, 53 years ago, it was Slavic. And black folks started moving in. And they did not want to be around black people. So they were selling these pristine 2- and 3-family homes for pennies on a dollar. That's where I started. I bought 7 of them in a row. 3- and 2-family homes. I turned them into Section 8 housing. Why do you do that, Dr. Fraser? Because that's what pays the most money, and you were going to get your money. And then I scoured Cleveland for the perfect Section 8 people that I could find. That took me months. And I made a promise to them. If you treat this like this is your home, when I flip these homes, after accelerating depreciation and all the tax stuff you can do with owning a home, you will have first dibs on these homes. I kept those homes for 13 years, sold them for 13 times what I bought them for. That does not include the tax write-offs I got and all the other loopholes as a homeowner. And that was the first $1 million Nora Jean and I made, and we used that money to buy our first home.
Excellent.
Whoop, there it is.
It's a master class, y'all. I just want to make a comment that we're going to take some questions. If you have questions, come to the mic. Please don't be intimidated. They're here for that. Just want to piggyback on something that LaRese said. One of the things, Joseph is a mentor to my wife and I. And I all these years thought I had a budget. But what I really had was just an image in my mind of what I thought I was spending money on. No, seriously, I would say, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. I don't have this. I don't have that. And truthfully, my closet would change. My footwear would change. Wherever I wanted to eat, whenever I wanted to eat would change. But I didn't realize I did not have a budget until I actually started counting every single dime every single day. I'm not a detailed person, but what I'll tell you is that I ended up finding thousands of dollars.
That's right.
That I did not know existed because I actually started tracking, which is another way of talking about a budget, my spending. And so when he's saying you need to start with a budget, these are two foundational principles for building wealth. Count your money. Do what you love. And in those, I mean, we could end the whole. They summarized the whole event. I'm serious. Like, people thought this was gonna be about like getting rich or anything. It's not. We're really telling you. I mean, there's actually scripture when the widow. I don't know, you guys remember the widow with the oil? You know, in that passage, Elijah basically told the lady to start a business, and she borrowed all of that. And then she sold it back to the people she borrowed it from.
Right.
Anyway, great stuff. Great answers. But that's the
Wally
conference
Amos,
right there. We can go home. Let's take these questions here. Go ahead.
Wally Amos, famous Amos, very close friend of mine, lives in Hawaii. I stayed with him in Hawaii. Wally Amos built his multi-million-dollar business. He ultimately sold it because he loved, simply, you know the story, he loved baking chocolate chip cookies. He just loved it.
Famous
That's what
Amos.
he loved, and they were delicious. And he would give them to his neighbors, and they said, man, these things are delicious. You should go into business. And, you know, the light bulb went off, and he went into business, and he built a giant business. He did what he loved, and he monetized it. Now, don't do what you hate, because I've never met anyone who hated what they were doing and was good at it. Okay? Don't do that. What you love, you can monetize it. This is America. People will buy anything. I'm telling you, there's a market for anything. With the right little branding and the right little, packaging, you could sell anything in this country. There's no excuse. Wow. We don't lack opportunity, brothers. You know what we lack? Capacity. We have to build our capacity to take advantage of the unlimited opportunity there is out there. But that requires, and you hit the nail on the head, that requires discipline. Count those pennies, budget, and you can make it happen. I don't care how little money you make. You could make something happen. There are endless stories of it. Endless.
And I want to say, not to take over with the questions, but you said a couple words, Dr. Fraser, and of course I've heard you drop gems over the years. Two things. One, he said the word you got to get angry. And I'm going to let y'all get angry real quick.
That's right.
Because I like to give examples. I want y'all to go home and go into your closet and start to add up what y'all spent on those clothes.
You'll get angry.
And then I want you to look at your bank account, and I want you to compare them. And I want you to see the value of your closet should never outweigh the value of your bank account. Because the key thing about those clothes in that closet, you brought them from a store that has somebody else's what? Last name.
That's right.
So you got to value your name enough to make sure you spend time building that and not somebody else. So again, when I was teaching, I was talking about name businesses that have been around for 50 years. It took us a long time, right? I didn't hear one of y'all say a black purse brand, a black clothing brand, a black shoe brand. I didn't hear y'all yelling those out. Right. So again, just take that, and you got to get angry so we can activate.
That's right. That's right.
Good stuff. All right, so what we're going to do, and I'm just going to ask the gentleman, in the interest of time, it's 8:57. I know we're supposed to be done at 9. Forgive us, we started late because we had some tech issues, but we want to try to get all the questions that we have. So be succinct in your question, and I'm going to ask the presenters to be as succinct as they can in their answers so we can address everyone. I'm going to start here, then we'll go here, we'll just go back and forth. That way we can honor each side. Go ahead, my sister.
All right, good evening, and thank you so much for your comments this evening. Dr. Fraser, I must admit that I have a confession When I was reading your book, Success Runs in Our Race, you said stop here and go network, and I've been doing that for 30 years, and so I'm still trying to finish that book. So here it is. I'm on a mission to equip young people with the knowledge, skills, and abilities to define their own wealth without sacrificing their humanity. Can you give a message to parents and to educators on how we can prepare our young people while we're preparing our families?
Great question. There are all kinds of assets that you can, as you're coming up, you can leave your children, or you can model for your children, because therein lies the key, by the way. We must model the behavior that we expect from our children. See, you think your children are listening to you. They're not really listening to you. They're watching you. And they're going to do what you do, not what you say. All right? So you've got to model it. But there are assets that you could give your choice. For example, if you have a business and you have an LLC, you can put them on the LLC and they'll be a partner in the business with you. That's a psychology. You're in business with dad or mom, and, you know. So there's all kinds of entrepreneurial assets that you can give your children to seed this thinking. In fact, I have a whole list of them. We don't have time to go through them, but start them young. I started young. Although I was an orphan and a foster child, had decent foster parents, but I started with raking leaves, shoveling snow, but I targeted. I had a target market, and I made a small fortune. In fact, I had so much business back in the day, I'm from a family of 11, 8 boys and 3 girls. I actually had to hire my siblings to do the work. I went out and got the work. My target market was the elderly. So I would shovel snow for the elderly, cut grass for the elderly. I had one other target market. I was the first male babysitter. Now remember, I'm 13 or 14 years old, right? So I targeted families that had boys, and maybe they wanted a young man to babysit their boy instead of a girl, right? So target your market. And just start small and chart the course and stay the course. Just stick with it and develop those habits very early in your children. That's good. Now, if you're going to talk about business with your children, you got to be doing some business. I don't care what you're doing. Baking cookies, put them in a box, put your name on it, right? So do something. Find something you can sell somebody.
That's good.
Right?
That's good. LaRese, did you want to add
Yeah,
something?
I'm going to say real quick. As I go around educate at schools now, and I tell educators, bring the families in. The new table talk needs to be about money. When we think about it, we all raised our hand honestly, and we were honest and said if our parents actually taught us about finances, not many hands would be up, right?
Right.
So again, it's one thing to talk about building wealth, but it's another thing to talk about educating and passing that information on. Because sometimes, how many people have lost someone and y'all got to tear the house up for the life insurance to see if they even had it? Because we say we're building it for our families, but we don't make sure that we educate them while we're here to lead them. So again, in schools, I think educators, we got to bring the families together and the students, because a lot of times the parents, when you're teaching the kids, are learning at their level.
Good answer. Go ahead, Paul.
Sure. Thanks again for everything that you guys are doing. I just had a quick question about, could you name a failure that you've experienced and what you learned from it?
No, I didn't hear the question. What's the question? What's the question?
A failure that you experienced and what you learned from it. What did you fail at, and what did you learn from it that you could share with us? LaRese, you can go ahead while Doc is.
So I haven't talked about this publicly, but it's always important. If anybody, you ever heard of Black Box Fix?
Yes.
Black Box Fix, right? It's your spot. We opened in Columbus. Anybody know we opened in Columbus and Easton? So we were in Easton. It's closed. It's closed. So one thing we realized, again, with a business plan, we did not really understand the market. And then we opened in the middle of a pandemic. So that was, for me, is understanding, building that network, something I teach all the time. Your network is your net worth. So going into the community before you put it in the city outside of where you reside is making sure you understand what's going on, the environment, who runs the city, and all that sort of stuff. So that was a lesson. I learned a valuable lesson. So again, happy grand opening, happy grand closing. So again, because we just didn't do enough research with that market.
Right, yeah.
So again, that was a lesson. I love it. It was an expensive lesson. We didn't have an issue with actual revenue and getting clients. We had an issue with staffing. We thought because Columbus was bigger, we would have more access to employees. But we actually had a worse experience in the city of Columbus than we did in Cleveland. So again, just doing more research.
That's good. How about you?
I've been in business about 40 years, and 7 years into the business, I had to file bankruptcy. Why did I have to file bankruptcy? Personal bankruptcy, not only corporate bankruptcy because I wasn't protected properly. By the way, there is no failure, there are only lessons. These are lessons, right? These are lessons. So I wasn't properly protected in my work, my company wasn't properly organized, and there could be enough protection, et cetera, et cetera. But we had a wonderful product called Success Guide, the networking guide to black resources worldwide. It was a fabulous product. Right? So we were beating our chests. We made a fortune on the first one that we produced in Cleveland. They said, oh man, let's expand this to 8 cities. So we had the same damn problem you had. Oh yeah, we expanded Success Guide to 8 cities simultaneously. That put us into bankruptcy. Yeah, for the exact same reason you talked about. We could not find the people that had the passion and the love and the commitment and the determination and the connections that I had here in Cleveland. Right? Put me right into not only corporate bankruptcy, but personal bankruptcy because I got loans, and at that time I had to personally sign for those loans. So it was a wonderful experience.
It's good to hear y'all say that, though. Honestly, really, trouble don't last always. All right, Andre.
Thank you for this opportunity. I just wanted to say thank you for all the knowledge that you guys have brought thus far. And I'm looking forward to more tomorrow. And my question is, can you nutshell, you kind of went over it in a little bit, can you nutshell the mindset, tools, or disciplines that are needed to transition or to take the steps from actually making money to your money making money for you? And also, how have you used fear to catapult your business and not cripple it?
You get one question. You got to pick one. In the interest of time, pick one. Pick your favorite one. Or either one of them could take one of them.
Yeah.
All right. Which one? Do you guys need him to restate that? Or
Yeah. Well, first of all,
one was how you get your money to make money, and the other one was fear. How have you used fear? You answer that question because you brought the issue of about fear.
You invest in assets that create revenue, not potential liabilities like an automobile. Investing in a home is an asset that can potentially, it's a multifamily home or if it's your own home, will increase in value. So the principle is real simple. Put your money to work harder for you than you did for it. Now, by the way, if you are working harder for your money than your money is working for you, then you are being pimped by your money, right? So just keep that in your mind. All your money needs to go to work.
Yeah.
You go to work, make it go to work, and find assets that increase in value, that produce revenue. They're everywhere. Everywhere. So you just have to think that way. That's a discipline. That's new thinking. That's all under the rubric of financial education, financial literacy. If we knew better, we would do better. We just don't know any better because we haven't been taught, and our parents did not talk about this stuff around the kitchen table. Certainly not when I was coming up. You did not talk about money with your parents when I was growing up, right? So we didn't learn anything. So we have to learn the hard way.
That's good, and we're going to make that shift. I would love for you to at least answer the part of fear, especially as an entrepreneur. How has fear worked in your favor to all right, this is how we're going to take it to the next level?
Yeah, everything I do, I would say, and you kind of talked about it, your obstacle is the way. Fear, everything I do, I to this day, if I lose fear, then I feel like I'm losing my trust in God. So for me, you know, I always want to make sure I stay at a place where I understand He's the way and it's not me. So when I touch it, like I have this big event down here. We talked about, you know, I got to fill up this. You know, I was in fear when I did that, but I had to put my faith on it in order to believe that God would do it. So everything I do, I never lose the fear in anything I do, because I think that's what keeps you humble. When you start thinking that you is because of you, that's when you got a real issue. Before I came up here and talked to y'all, I had a little fear. You know, because, and I say, God, go ahead of me so I can get this done. So, again, I don't think you should ever lose some of that feeling in your gut, because, again, it'll keep you low to the ground and you can be a blessing. So
That's good. All right, I think we're going to go over here to my sister.
Hello, it's been an honor hearing from you both today. So, Dr. Fraser, you shared some statistics about how the how single-parent households are a really big statistic now, and that was projected back in the 60s. And so as I'm a young millennial / Gen Zer, what advice do both of you have for a young person who, you know, wants to break those generational curses and get married and have kids, but also build, you know, a business? I feel like a lot of times you hear you kind of can't have both at the same time. And so as you know, you've been married for 50 years. LaRese, I know you just got married a couple years ago and had a big, you know, fabulous celebration. And we know that building Black wealth also includes like that family planning aspect as well. And so if you can just share some insight and wisdom on, you know, what you have, advice for us young people to, you know, build wealth and build our families.
Pastor, could you put that in 8 words for us?
Well, I think in a sense, what she's asking is because of the issues of the prediction of how the family unit would break down, how can we change that? How do we build families and build business? I don't know if is that tracking? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do both.
You
go ahead.
Yeah, so what I'm going to say is, you know, and I love when I hear young people ask, so all you young people out here, is the information you're getting now, use it. Again, I'm going to say that again. Listen, learn, activate. And the reality is you haven't made a lot of the mistakes. You haven't had to file bankruptcy. Right. You haven't had to have bad credit. You haven't had to go broke. So again, take these tools and activate them in your life now before you make the investment in the home too early, before you open the business without, you know, the education and foundation. So again, you know, I feel like if we can catch young people before they make those mistakes, it sets them up for the future. Lessons or life does not have to be your best teacher. I hate to hear people say that. You know, well, I had bad credit, so my kid got to learn it through life. No, you have bad credit, so let's teach them so they don't have to have bad credit. So again, I would just say to you guys, use information. Because it ain't cool being broke, y'all. It ain't cool. Ain't nothing cool about that. Ain't nothing about fire about that. And stop talking about we get in the bag, but you ain't taking no education to build the bag. So I think Mr. Fraser talked about maintaining it is what's key. So not just getting it, but maintaining it.
That's right. That's scaling it and growing it.
Let's in the interest of time, I'm going to move to a few more questions. We need to thank these brothers for staying past the time that they're here. And I know we have a few more questions. I'm going to take them. We'll go over here. J-Man, go here. We'll go back here, and then we'll end with Emily. Oh, come on, Raul. All right, quickly, go ahead.
I don't really know how to ask this question, but with the things that you guys were saying, and I do respect you guys for coming out here and, you know, teaching us how to build wealth and also how to maintain wealth. How can I apply those rules or standards to my life and to my profession? As myself and my grandmother, we are self-employed musicians. So how will we be able to build wealth, maintain it, and, you know, make sure that we can push it to our future generations and our families and such?
How old are you?
15.
15, okay.
So build and maintaining wealth.
As musicians, they are musicians, self-employed musicians.
Okay. So
1099s. Yeah.
Let me give you some advice. You're probably a really good musician. I'm sure you're good at what you do. People hire you, so you must be good. Continue to be good at that. But you really don't know how to manage money unless someone has taught you. So the smartest thing to do is to invest in someone that does know how to manage money. That's what they do. They probably can play their management money instrument as good as you play your musical instrument. Let them do it. That is the key to the proper management of accumulated wealth. Let an expert do it. Now, this was a conversation 50 years ago. There were only a handful of brothers and sisters who really knew how to do that. Today, they're every damn where, right? They're brothers and sisters that know how to manage money and invest money. Don't you try to figure it out. Let them figure it out. They can teach you some of the tricks of the trade, but put your ego aside and put it in the hands of an expert. And there's no excuse. They're all around. They're everywhere. There's one right here, and I'm sure he knows a ton of them, right? People who manage money. That's not what you do. You play an instrument, right? And thankfully now, our musicians are getting smarter about that. Because yes, we were the creative force of music, the innovative force of music, the performers of music, but we didn't own the damn thing. Only a few really smart, James Brown, Ray Charles, only a few, right, back in the day, owned what they produced, right? And that can be monetized. So get some help.
Good answer. That's a good answer. At 50, 30, what was it? Could apply. You know, 1099 or W-2.
Who said 21?
Somebody said
50,
21.
20, 30. You said 21.
Oh. All right, over here, brother.
Just want to say I feel so privileged to be here. As everyone else has stated, it's awesome. The question I have is about that prognosis that Dr. Fraser illustrated about the state of black people in the country. How are you saying that individual wealth building is what's going to be the prescription for that? How do we fix that situation en masse for black people?
You're saying how to fix the problem that he described. Is it individual wealth? Is it coming together? That's a good question because I think that's the cliff note that you ended on, or the cliffhanger, I should say. You said we need to fix the thing. So
it's not either or, it's both, really.
Okay.
It's both. It's both. Individual, then you team up with someone of like mind, right? And there are plenty of people of like mind. You're not the only one, that can do the thing. You might find another brother or sister, might be your significant other, but there are all kinds of potential partnerships out here. Leverage, right? And we're 1 + 1. Here's what you're looking for. This is it. This is the key here. You're not looking for 1 + 1 making 2. You can do that with any damn body. You're looking for where 1 + 1 makes 11. Okay, you got it? 1 + 1 makes 11. So it's yours and theirs, and together, how do you leverage that, and how does that geometrically, that investment geometrically helps you to build and grow. And so you may hook up with another brother or sister that has some ideas and some expertise where you have weaknesses. That's what I did with my partner, Greg Williams, 40 years ago.
I just wanted to add to that. I think, and we talked about this in the office, so it didn't come out here, but he did mention how you see this in other cultures where they actually work together in order to produce businesses and so forth. That does not seem to happen a lot in our community for whatever reason. I'm not sure what the historical issues are with that. Yeah. But that's something I'd love to see here in the church. And I know sometimes we are so afraid of the failure stories of distrust, of betrayal, that we don't even attempt. That's right. You know, we got 5 people in the church who are cutting lawns. Like, we got multiple people who are trying to do, real estate and so forth and so on. But there could be opportunity for collaboration. I think that helps us to go further. You said if we go together, we go further.
That's right. Yeah. And we just got to do business. So when you talk about that, because everybody has an agenda. Everybody sits at the table has an agenda. But if we're clear on what the agenda is, we can make progress.
That's right.
But my best friend, Eric, who owns Black Box with me, as much as I love him, we have documents in order. Mm-hmm. And that's how we build business. When we talk about trust, we don't do business. We come to the table and talk about building a business, but we won't do the paperwork or build the foundation to have longevity. So again, in that, we got to be clear so then if we lose the business, we don't lose the friendship.
That's right.
So a lot of us, we were fearful of that. Like, this is my guy, I've been knowing him. We do business, we fall out, we're not going to be friends anymore. But if you put it in writing, you can still maintain that love for each other when it don't work out.
Right.
Oh,
Here's a distinction quickly. What each of us want to become are business people, not business people. See, there's a difference between being a business person and a business person.
Business.
In fact, our goal at the Power Networking Conference is put the black business people out of business. Yeah. Right? So that we can do proper business. And, that's what it is, right? Forget being a business man. You ain't no business man or business woman, right?
It's like everybody knows exactly what that means. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
We know. You ain't got to tell us. We know what business is. All right, we're going to, Emily, we're in with Raw.
Thank you all so much for the information you shared. It's just what the doctor ordered. And Pastor, thank you for the insight to have these gentlemen here. My question is, Dr. Fraser, you mentioned a most productive age, and I'm in the most productive range.
You're in?
I am. And
You're
so,
in the most productive age?
in the most productive
Go
age
ahead,
range.
girl. All right.
So with that being said, I need a roadmap. And so you mentioned a curriculum and would a financial planner. Where would be the best place for me to start? You all mentioned a lot of different things. I have ideas, but I want to lay my foundation well. And how would you what would you recommend for me?
Good question.
Thank you.
Yep. She's looking for a category.
Where to begin? Information.
Where to begin? She says she's in that season that you said is the optimal season for success.
Yes.
Where should she start?
For you, first of all, you're blessed to be living in Cleveland, Ohio, one of the healthcare centers of the world. Not just United States of the world. I was in Dubai. There's a Cleveland Clinic in Dubai and one in Abu Dhabi. All right, this is a global health center. Right. I think Cleveland Clinic employs 50,000+ people, right? In fact, the biggest category of business that black people are in is the healthcare service. And you're in a healthcare center, right? And so you look
and she's
like
in healthcare. She's in healthcare. That's her.
Are you in healthcare? Yes. Are you already in healthcare? Oh. Well, then, are you a businesswoman in healthcare? Or are you employed? Oh no, you got to bite a chunk off of that. No. You're in the business, yeah. You're in the mouth of the lion. There's all kinds of opportunities for spin-offs, right? Where you can add value to Cleveland Clinic. There's services that they have all kinds of consultants and services that they employ. People, they actually are looking harder for you than you for them because they're really into diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you're in the mouth of the lion, you start asking questions and you see where can they use some outside help. And actually, if you think about it, it's actually cheaper in many cases to go outside and employ a consultant or a small businesses, daycare services, elderly care services. I mean, it's massive, right? A Nigerian brother of mine, John Smith from Nigeria, came to this country. This is a true story. 8 years ago, with $5 in his pocket from Nigeria. He had a college degree. He went into the healthcare services business. He employs 160 people, does $200 million in 7 years. Now, Nigerians, by the way, I don't know if you've ever been around Nigeria, they are aggressive as hell. They're extraordinarily aggressive, right? And there is no climbing the corporate ladder, by the way, in Africa, in most African countries. Everybody got a hustle in Africa, right? So they're enculturated to that. So they're very aggressive. So he grew a business in healthcare. He chose healthcare. He's in Washington, D.C., actually Prince George's County. So it's a massive opportunity there.
Think a business coach.
Business coach, yes. Yeah. But you got to have relationships, fella. You got to be a really good networker. Business coaching, yes, absolutely.
LaRese, what do you think?
No, it's places like GCP. It's organizations like that. You have Ohio MBAC program. You have organizations like ECDI, Jumpstart, the Urban League. Because those organizations, what they can do is give you access to opportunities. And then that may help to also pique your interest. But they have what Mr. Fraser talked about earlier is experts. People pay people to solve problems. And so you have to not only want to be paid to solve a problem for somebody else, you have to be willing to pay somebody to solve your problem as well. So those organizations locally can be very impactful on that journey.
Yeah, and you're blessed. You got the package too. You got white hair. You know that white hair. You know people get impressed with that. You got some seasoning and some hot sauce on you. You know what I mean? You got poise and you can sell.
All right, love it. All right, Raw. Last one.
Last one. Thank you once again. I'll just piggyback with everybody else, and thank you guys for being here and appreciate all the wealth of information and knowledge that you have been able to share. My question kind of piggybacks on a little bit on what you started answering, LaRese. Can you give us, you guys both talked about building your network and the people that you hang around and how that influences your success. So can you, and Dr. Fraser, you mentioned about the Power Networking Conference. Can you expand a little bit on that, and as well as tell us a little bit more about how you can begin to build your network and find like-minded people to have around you so that you don't end up as that sixth broke friend?
Go ahead.
Read a great book. If you have not, heard of it, Leadership Identity by Stedman Graham, and have my staff reading it right now as well. But one, we must know who we are. It's hard to lead others until you first can lead yourself. And I would say the new challenge to everybody out here tonight is be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because we tend to want to go where we're comfortable, like the Cheers effect, where everybody knows your name. If they already know who you are and they don't support you, it ain't gonna change tomorrow. So again, and I believe in that motto, and I train my staff and develop them in that area, is I made a commitment to be intentional the last couple years to go into rooms where I knew no one and they didn't know me. But I knew they had resources and access that I need to go get to take back to my community. And now it was hard, because I'll be standing here trying to figure out who I'm gonna talk to. But real quick, all you gotta do is, talk to people about what they enjoy talking about, is what they do every day, their families, their dreams, like they say, and it's the Ford motto. Look up the Ford motto, and that's how you build relationships. But again, I think that's been one of the biggest success of my careers and my career in the last 5 years. I've been able to work with people that I would never go to their homes, and they would never come to mine. I would never go to their neighborhoods, and they wouldn't come to mine. But again, that's been very impactful to me and what I do.
Yeah.
Power and proximity.
Two quick nuggets.
Yep.
I I didn't really have enough time to unpack networking. We do that for 4 days at the Power Networking Conference. By the way, it'll be in Charlotte next year, July the 10th through the 13th. We'll be 3 years in Charlotte. And then once the Hall of Fame is built in Atlanta, we will move the Power Networking Conference to be produced inside of the Hall of Fame. So the Power Networking Conference is the first cousin of the Hall of Fame. So we have essentially will build our own venue. So we will recycle black dollars. By the way, the Hall of Fame is a 501c3. It is a not-for-profit. Now, so that's A. B, and I'm finished. There are 3 networks you're going to have to work on for your entire life, through all 8 passages of your life. And if you're lucky, if God blesses you with 8 passages, you know, just be grateful. What's a passage? Each passage is 10 years. You're a different person at 10 than you were at 1. You're a different person at 20 than you were at 10. Let us pray. I've met some 20-year-olds that act like 10-year-olds. You're a different person at 30 than 20, 40 than 30, 50 than 40, 60 than 50, right? 70 than 60, 80 than 70. You're constantly evolving. The George Fraser of 60 years ago, that brother is dead and gone. He does not exist. Someone met me from 60 or 70 years ago, I would tell them, that George Fraser, or he died a long time ago, right? I'm not the same person. So, 3 networks you have to work on for all 3 passages of your life. First, your personal network. These are the people that love you, hug you, cheer you on, lift you up. Your ride and dies, okay? Let's call that your network at home. Then there's what I call your operational network. These are the people that help you to get specific tasks done throughout your life, and they platoon in and out of your life, right? You help them get something done, they help you get something done, right? There's only one person, I'm 78, one person that remains in my life, right? At 78 years old, and that's my older sister. People come in and out of our lives, but they help us do things. That's your operational network. And then the third and final, and this is the critical one, is your strategic network. These are the people that are smarter than you. These are the people that are where you want to be. These are the people that will drag you into the 21st century kicking, screaming, and crying. These are the people that can ultimately be your mentors and coaches and guides along the way. Those are the 3 networks, which means to do that, you're going to have to spend 30 to 40% of your time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships at work, at home, and in the community, because without that, you ain't getting nothing done. You're going to do it with and through other people. Okay. Now, if you're interested in the Power Networking Conference, there's a special offer. It's 78% off. Right? The normal package is $2,300 for 1 adult and 1 student, and we encourage every adult to come to our conference to bring a young person, 18 to 25, to LaRese's point. We get them started early. Now, right? And they must be accompanied by a parent or a chaperone or an uncle, but we don't want kids running around our damn conference, okay? They need to be guided. And so it's 1 adult and 1 child. It's normally $2,300. We have a 78% off deal right now, good until the end of the month, for $499. So if you're interested in that package, I do have a form. And no, we don't do payment plans. It's $499, but that's how it works. If you're interested, I'll be more than happy, and you can fill it out, and we can handle the business. Okay? That's the offer.
Awesome. Let's put our hands together. Well,
y'all blessed, man? Look, guys, we are so grateful and so honored to have both of you guys here. Seriously. I felt inspired. There's so many good nuggets. And this is exactly what we envisioned and what God poured in our hearts when we were putting this together. we wanted to make sure that you guys left with something practical. So I want to say thank y'all for being patient. I know we kept y'all longer than we anticipated and what was on the flyer, but we're giving y'all some nuggets that literally could change your life. Here's my commitment to you guys. You want to be here tomorrow morning.
100%.
I'm going to tell you right now, look, we were very strategic. Tomorrow is not going to be a typical speech, hurrah, inspiration. We are going to get very practical on how you can build personal wealth. Part of that is sharing my story. Part of that is Myron talking about what does the Bible say. And here's the blessing about all this. The nuggets we are giving you is from scriptures. Nobody's saving us as people. All right? And so we are geeked. We're excited. Pastor, again, thank you so much. This doesn't happen without you building networks, man. And so y'all need to give a round of applause for y'all pastor. Yeah. Seriously. Seriously.
And by the way, I bought like 14 or 15 copies of each of these books. He bought them all. So this is the person to lobby and to get on his good side. And you might get.
We're going to gift some of those books. He brought some books tonight, and we're going to buy all the books that he has,
right.
And we're going to give some of those books tomorrow to the folks who show up on time, folks who sit in the front, folks who bring their laptops and stuff like that. Yeah, I want to encourage you tomorrow. Bring your Bible. You know, you can wear your church clothes if you want to, but you come tomorrow like you come into school. Bring your laptop, bring your iPad, your tablet. If you like to write on a notepad, I would highly encourage you tomorrow. Tonight we just want to set the tone. Tomorrow's going to be highly practical. We do even have a piece tomorrow that answers just about every question that was asked tonight. Answers will be given very practically tomorrow. We have a brother who just got in a few minutes ago who's going to teach you how to start a business based on your passion, how to monetize what you love. And he has been here before. He's actually done this with his entire family, his whole family LLC. They got a whole S Corp, trust fund, etc.
Right.
And so these are the things that we need to understand. So I want to encourage you to bring your young people out as well. This is not just for old folks, right? This is for the entire family. LaRese said it. We need to start talking about money. Money needs to be the new conversation at the dinner tables. We don't even really eat together no more, but we should. And that needs to be part of the conversation. All right, tomorrow morning at what time did I say, everybody? What time we start? 10 a.m. Got my man Brenton Harrison tomorrow, who's locked and loaded. He's got an awesome podcast, Changing the World. He's Investopedia. He's on Investopedia's 100 most influential financial advisors in the world. And he's a Seventh-day Adventist young brother that graduated from Oakwood University. And I taught him everything he knows, especially basketball. Anyway, so that's all we have for tonight. Let's stand together. You may want to shake these brothers' hands. I know that they don't have long to be here, but get a moment with them before you can.
Awesome, man.
Let's bow our heads together and let's have a word of prayer. Father, I just want to thank you so much, first of all, for LaRese Purnell and what he is doing in the city of Cleveland and beyond, and how he is setting an example for us, Lord, on what it means to prosper and then to be about prospering others. Lord, I pray a special and unusual anointing and blessing over his life. Enlarge his territory so that he can continue to employ more and more black people to change this community that is ridden with blight, crime, and violence. God, continue to use this young brother. Bless his event this weekend, tomorrow, the Battle of the Bands, the real Black Friday. I pray you bless it, Lord, as he has poured into us, pour back into him. And then, Lord, the OG himself, Dr. George Fraser, Lord, stopped what he was doing to come here to Little Old Grace Community and pour his life. 78 years of wisdom was poured out to us tonight. And God, we want to say thank you for him. He is a gift to us as a people. Now, Lord, would you not replenish that which he has poured out? Continue to bless his efforts. Bless this Hall of Fame vision that you have given him. God, that's your vision. Now, God, bring it to pass. These and many other blessings we ask in your name. Bring us back tomorrow for more information that will bring about transformation. In Christ's name we pray. Everybody said amen.
Amen.
And amen. God bless you.